Congressman Chip Roy joins us now from the great state of Texas. Congressman, appreciate you being with us, sir.
Great to be on as always. Hope you guys are doing well on this great Friday.
Yeah, we're in pretty good spirits, pretty good shape over here. I think the country overall is, although this shutdown, it's starting to feel more real to people as paychecks are getting missed. And we got the Washington Post headline here: average Obamacare premiums set to rise 30%. Congressman, what the heck is going on here? I thought Obamacare was supposed to make it all cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on to talk about. I mean, the short version is this. We did our job. We passed a bill that would fund government through Thanksgiving, right? I mean, we passed that over a month ago in the House. Chuck Schumer, for very political purposes, has chosen not to. And you're right. I mean, the president, God bless him, and Russ Vought, the head of the OMB, they cobbled together money to pay our troops at the midpoint of October. But this Friday, we're going to hit the end of the month. I think we can scrape a few more bucks together to figure out how to pay the troops, but it's going to get thin. You got TSA, you got the Border Patrol, and they're doing all of this for no reason other than political games. There's no other reason to do it, right? They're not objecting to our spending money for something. They're not picking a righteous fight. What they're saying is they have nothing to run on, so they want to try to pick a fight on health care and say that that's what we're going to win the election on next year. But you just pointed it out. They give up the joke. The fact is, the subsidies that they're seeking, $400 billion to go straight to insurance companies, it gives up the game that, as the Washington Post said 2 weeks ago, you quoted the Post said the Affordable Care Act has been anything but affordable, because all it is a failed system of giving money to insurance companies, allowing them to get rich, while hardworking Americans pay more for premiums and get less coverage, get less care from doctors, and fewer options. So the president's got alternatives, and we'll talk about those alternatives. I released a whole plan for healthcare last January called the Case for Healthcare Freedom, with expanded health savings accounts, expanded direct primary care, more options for people to go to health sharing ministries, the ability to drive prices down. But Democrats don't want to talk about that. They want to play games, and I'll just say this. They're holding the government hostage, but they've been holding the American people hostage to a broken healthcare system for a decade, and now they're trying to do it for political purposes.
We're talking to Congressman Chip Roy, big Texas fan. Unfortunately for him, his wife's Texas A&M Aggies are having a better season right now. We may get to that eventually. But, Congressman, I'm curious, you have been focused on insider trading. And this is something that gets both Buck and myself fired up about. You know, we just had the scandal about insider trading in the NBA, players, what they're going to play or not, all those things. I get why that's a crime. I'm actually way more interested in why everybody in Congress has incredible timing, like Nancy Pelosi. I mean, she's basically Warren Buffett. Isn't it kind of a no-brainer to not allow Congress people to engage typically in individual stock trading? And why is this not happen?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is one of those things that polls at something like 90%, Clay, and I think Republicans have been missing the mark, not jumping aboard. I mean, I introduced legislation 5 years ago on a bipartisan basis. There are multiple bills. We spent this summer kind of cobbling together and merging those bills together into a package that now has bipartisan consensus. And I don't say that very often, right? There's not that many things that we agree on a bipartisan basis. But we've got, I think, 20 Republican co-sponsors, about 60 Democrat co-sponsors. And Republicans have just been a little slow to catch up to the argument. Look, I think it's pretty simple. You shouldn't be trading stocks and making money for yourself based on information that you have at your disposal. But even put that aside, just straight up, are you able to make good decisions, for example, in the House Judiciary Committee, as I serve on, about whether to break up companies, right, an antitrust, or whether to do something with insurance companies and hospital corporations with healthcare reforms? Or maybe you're in armed services and you're an appropriator and you're voting on defense contracts. How can you be doing that in good faith if you're getting richer based on the policy choices you're making? Because we now live in a corporate cronyist type environment where massive federal contracts are at play. Let me give you an example. Southwest Airlines. I was giving them trouble for their mask mandates and all of their requirements on their flight attendants and their pilots. And you know what they told me? Well, we might risk the $200 million government contract that we have. That's the world we live in, and I'm sick of it. And we shouldn't be trading stocks. So my advice to Republicans is put this bill on the floor and let's vote on it, because I don't think Republicans can vote against it.
Well, I would love to see some accountability on this one, Congressman, but it feels like this is one of those that somehow always doesn't really get done at the 11th hour. I think we all could take some guesses as to why that is. I think some members really like being able to outdo a lot of professional stock pickers for various hedge funds and such. But let me ask you, what is the current, because I think this is important, the current rules are what for picking stocks for a member of Congress? Like what because there was a big surge to do something about this a decade ago, and then they passed some watered down law. So what are the rules right now?
The rules right now are you pretty much can do anything you want. You just have to report them. And it is those increased reporting requirements a little over a decade ago in the Stock Act that was what has caused the environment where I can get the where we have the information at our disposal to tell us that we need to have these stock trading bans in place. So I think that helped us, but we need to put requirements that limit your ability to trade. There's no reason you shouldn't be in a broadly traded fund, or you shouldn't just be able to put it in a simple a fund that has no tie to a specific stock, and then just get out of the business. And my colleagues who say, well, we have a right, we should be able to trade. Look, there's only 435 of us. There's 320 million Americans. So if you want to trade, you want to day trade, then just get out of Congress. So we're going to try to force a vote on this. We've got Republicans and Democrats committed to force this issue, and we're going to do it as soon as we can this fall.
All right, let's go into the AG's race. I know that Texas has got a ton of super competitive primaries going on all across the board, so many different moving parts. You are running for Attorney General of the great state of Texas. Why do you want to be AG? How is the race going? What should people out there? And by the way, let me also add this. The primary in Texas is in March. So I know everybody down in your state right now is obsessed with high school football and college football. And I mean, it is a football crazy place. But by the time we come out of Christmas and New Year's, it's basically going to be almost early voting time. How is the campaign going? What should people know in Texas right now as primary season's only about 6 months away?
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. We're about 4 months away from early voting. And look, I'm running for Attorney General for the simple reason that Texas is worth fighting for and preserving and protecting, and Texas is under assault. We've got this reprieve, happily, with President Trump and, good folks in the administration that are securing the border, that are making sure that they put us in a good position. And I think that's important. But we also have to look ahead and know how Texas is going to do after President Trump. We have wide open borders that are currently stopped, but you've got all these bad actors that are still wanting to make profit and putting fentanyl into our streets and to have, dangerous individuals in our communities. You've got these organized Marxists and leftists, the George Soros prosecutors that are putting criminals on our streets in San Antonio and in Austin and Houston and Dallas. And then we've got the extent to which we've got Sharia law, and we've got radical Islamists that are coming into our state, and that they're setting up strongholds throughout the state of Texas, not just Mamdani in New York, not just Dearborn, not just Minneapolis, but Dallas. You have the Muslim Brotherhood who's looking at Dallas as the epicenter of the advancement of Sharia law. The Attorney General has to be at the center of that fight. The Attorney General has to have experience. The Attorney General has to have been somebody who stood up in court, as I have, as an assistant United States attorney, or has stood up as the first assistant Attorney General and filed cases in front of the Supreme Court, defended Texans. And we've got to make sure someone can lead and carry Texas forward in the absence of a President Trump, not just alongside President Trump going forward.
All right, Chip, what in the world has happened to your Texas Longhorns? Your wife's an Aggie. I'm not feeling good about your chances this year, but I watched that game against Kentucky.
Kentucky.
I mean, I mean, it was like y'all didn't even have an offense. Offensive line can't block anybody. You got Mississippi State this weekend, and down the line, again, you got the Aggies. What's going on?
Yeah, well, look, I mean, watching that game last week was tough, but we got, Texas now going into Mississippi State. That's always a tough game. Lots of cowbell, as you know, and that's a tough place to play. Look, A&M's going to have a tough one too. They got to go on the road into Death Valley at LSU. And,
no doubt.
We need A&M is going to have the defense show up. It did not show up last week against Arkansas. They let Arkansas stack 42 points on them. Their defense better show up when they go down to LSU. And the offense needs to prove they can do it on the road like they did with Notre Dame. Look, with Texas, we just need the offense to get in sync. Obviously not where we want to be with 2 losses, but we got a little gift. Not 100% sure why Kentucky went for it twice there. In that, we kind of got a little lucky in my view that they decided to go for it there on 4th down with that same play. So, look, we need a lot of pressure been pointed on Arch. I think you already noted the offensive line has basically been a wide open door, and he's just been getting rushed. If you look at the stats, it's been pretty crazy. So, Sark's got to figure out how to deal with what he's got, right? Like Rumsfeld said, you go to war with the army you got. If the offensive line's not getting the job done, you got to get Arch out and let him create a little bit, and you got to figure out how to protect him. Hopefully we can get back on track this weekend because we still got a shot. But every game the rest of the year is a game that we could win or lose. And, we want to be able to finish with 2 losses, not more. So got to step on the gas.
You co-signed all that, Buck? You think he broke down the game well there?
I agree. I'm not going to throw any flags on that analysis. I think it tracks with mostly what I'm seeing every weekend on Sundays.
Saturdays. Good guess.
Whatever. Close enough.
Congressman, we appreciate you. Good luck on the campaign. We'll talk to you again soon. And tell your wife to start trying to figure out how she's going to celebrate the big Aggie win at the end of the year. Yeah,
well, I can tell you that she's, they're starting to feel it. They're starting to talk a little smack, and my son and daughter, they're kind of leaning A&M direction. And so, but you know what? You got to remember, I went to Virginia undergrad. They had a great game last week, pulling that one out. They're now 6-1, and who would have thought Virginia would be ranked higher than Texas right now? So I'll keep.
No, look, Tony Elliott done a great job in Charlottesville this year at UVA. We appreciate the time, my man, and come on anytime.
All right, thanks, Blake. God bless. Take care.
That's Chip Roy. I think he's going to be the next AG in the state of Texas, which is going to be very important because they've got a huge battle going on, as we've talked about, Buck, on the Republican Senate primary side, where they got 3 big-time candidates just throwing punches to try to see who's going to be the nominee for the Republican Party going forward. Remember, on the Democrat side, we may get Jasmine Crockett before all is said and done. All right, Buck, are you ready? I have a winner. We were just talking about college football. I have a winner for the NFL. We have won 4 times with the Prize Picks pick. This is the week Prize Picks pick. Here we go, meaning this week's, not a WEAK. This is a very strong pick. Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Mac Jones, CJ Stroud. I'm making this very easy for everybody. Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Mac Jones, CJ Stroud, all to throw at least 1 touchdown pass. That is more than 1/2 touchdown pass. All starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Mac Jones, CJ Stroud. We're going for a 5th win. If I'm right about those 4, all throwing at least 1 touchdown pass, then that pays out at 2.2 to 1. So $5 turns into $12. I think I got that math right. Easier, $10 would turn into 22. So maybe it's $11. Anyway, get hooked up right now. PrizePicks.com, code Clay. You can play in California. You can play in Texas. You can play in Georgia. You can play in New York. You can play in Tennessee, where I am. Florida, where Buck is. 40-plus states. $50 in your account when you play $5. Each of these guys to throw a touchdown pass. Jackson Dart, Caleb Williams, Mac Jones, CJ Stroud. We're going for win number 5 on the NFL season. Can we do it? I hope the answer is yes. More on all of those. Play along with us. $5 to win 50. I'll also give it to you in the 3rd hour, but that is prizepicks.com. Code Clay.